Welcome back to another game of Mage Knight. I set up another Lost Relic scenario. As for the hero, I rolled Arythea and Brevler, and this time I'm going for Arythea with Brevler as my dummy. And the first step of the scenario is again to level up to level 3. So we start at 9 fame with the bonus fame of the scenario, reputation dead center. We do have 2 crystals of the colors of the hero, so that's red and white for Arythea. The dummy stays untouched, and actually read up in the compendium that the dummy is supposed to not be leveled. But there was one correction that as an owner of the original expansion I did not know of, is that you actually prepare your level +1 units, not +2. That's supposed to be an error. So it's action cards, it's +2, units +1, spells is exactly your level, and artifacts is 1 less. We do have 18 fame again to shop for things, but we do get 1 action card for free and of course a skill choice. The skill choice is between motivation and darkfire magic. Seeing that there are neither red spells nor red action cards in the offer, I'm a bit hesitant to go with darkfire magic, and motivation will be useful nevertheless. The black mana might be useful of course, but I do think I want to go with motivation. As for the advanced actions, we do have Steady Tempo and Song of Wind as movement skills, and I do think Song of Wind is quite a solid movement skill, and we should definitely take one for the scenario, because we do have to reveal 3 additional countryside tiles, not necessarily in this position of course. And I did fix the side B setup this time, so we have actually a proper map. And then you have to discover up to 3 core tiles, all in 2 rounds, and defeat 2 dragons. So I do think I definitely want the Song of Wind. So let's pick this with the free advanced action I get. We also have the choice for an ice shield, regeneration, which was really good last time, and a swift bow that might be good. As for units, we have foresters, peasants, magic familiars, and herbalists. I do like the foresters, I took them last time. Herbalists are really nice and really cheap. Peasants I would probably not go for in this kind of scenario, and the magic familiars, they would cost me a crystal that I would also have to buy if it's not one of the 2 that I actually start with. And it might be worthwhile to actually improve movement. It would be white, which would be possible actually. But then again, maybe the foresters are just the more solid unit overall then, just easier. For spells, we this time have a real nice complement here with the snowstorm that would make short work of the summoning dragon. Expose is really interesting. I'm really tempted by this because it does remove fortifications and resistances, so it would solve the ice dragon and the fire dragon, but it doesn't help against the summoning dragon unfortunately, so it's really useless against that. And Tremor, if you're not fighting groups of enemies, is not that good I think. As for the artifacts, we have the Endless Bag of Gold, which is a fame and influence source, and a Banner of Fortitude, but I do think artifacts are far too expensive to just, well, take those over, for example, a spell and a unit. For example, taking the Herbalist and a spell will be 12, which is exactly the same as an artifact. I think what differentiates this scenario from the regular ones is that you know you will only fight a single token in each of the 2 battles that you have to do. So there are spells, for example, that are really good against single tokens like Disintegrate, which would then shine obviously, and you don't have to prepare for like 5+ tokens, which are also fortified. But I think that's also the biggest downside of the scenario, because you do not know what specific dragons you are fighting. So what could be good against one is useless against another, and vice versa. So it's really hard to pick that. And there's not much sense in leveling too much and getting too many nice toys, because it's just 2 rounds. So if you get them in the first day and can't use them right away, then there's just 1 round to actually make use of them. But we stick with the default difficulty settings for now, so we start level 3 and fight 2 Trocorum as last time. To be really on the safe side, I think it's better to go for brute force instead of trying to kill him at range, but it's just tempting to play Expose in this setup. But there is also an elusive dragon for which it will not do much good actually. One thing I also noticed last game is that I filled both my slots and I could not hire them right away, and I do get my next slot after leveling twice, so it will not happen in the first day, which makes the unit offer quite pointless actually. So maybe getting more than 1 unit is actually not the best play. As last game I want to play with the relaxed mode, so not thinking too much, which means I do like the Expose. So I do think I'd take that. I could pay 9 for this or 7 and a crystal. I could even produce a crystal first, but crystals cost 3, so it would be 10 overall. So you're getting a discount if you just pick it up for 9. So for 9 I'm picking up this, which leaves 9. I do think I want the Swift Bolt. It just ties in nicely with the range strategy, and it would also just give me white mana if need be. So there's another 6, which means I have 3 left. And if I have at least one left, I will get a Fame, but I do think I want to pick up a unit, so I'm picking up the Herbalist. So let's set up the game. Alright, so this is the starting setup. The source came up double green, gold and 1 depleted die. The units are the Swordsman, another Herbalist, the Red Cape Monks, which are awesome because they do provide elemental damage and block, and especially fire block might be worthwhile against the Ice Dragon and against the Storm Dragon. And the Guardsmen are an all-time favorite of mine because they also have a really good block ability. Advanced actions are Training, Heroic Tale, that might be good to hire, and Blood Ritual, which I love, but it just gives mana, and we are not in a game where we need to power 17 cards in a big assault. It's really, we need the key cards to destroy these dragons. Spell offers Charm, Burning Shield again, a card that's usually not that good, but against single enemies, like again, Storm Dragon or an Ice Dragon, this might be worthwhile, especially since the Exploding Shield can just kill an enemy if it's not fire resistant. And the Mist Form is another movement card. As for the map, we do have 2 rampaging enemies, Summoners and War Beasts. Actually, there's another one in the corner here, which are the Trackers. But these 2 are off position anyway, so we are really only thinking about this. And 3 Fame will, of course, not level us in this scenario. There's a Glade, there are 2 villages, a Monster Den and a Red Crystal Mine. A Mage Tower, which is a source of a spell, unfortunately it's in a desert, and 2 mountains are making it quite hard to navigate actually. The opening hand shows Song of Wind right away, it was the top card of the pile. Unfortunately we also pulled Expose right away, so we would have to hold on to this until the first dragon if we want to kill it at a day. So this might be a reason to rethink. We do have Determination, March and Stamina, which is really good because we need movement cards. And as last time, I am tempted to just play the Song of Wind and 2 movement cards to just breathe through the map. The Song of Wind, of course, does not just reduce our movement cost to 2, but it does reduce the movement cost of plains actually to 0. That's much better. Deserts and Wastelands are also reduced by 2, but of course it's day, so they will still have a movement cost of 3, but it might be a way to actually take the tower. And we could travel lakes if we pay a blue mana, but then again we do only have green in the source, unfortunately, so mana is a real issue. I also realized I did not reveal another skill from Brevela for the next level up, which is Feral Allies, which makes exploring cheaper, gives you the odd attack, and can reduce the attack of enemies by 1, which again, against swift ice attacks, for example, is a big deal. And seeing that Blood Ritual is in the last position, it might actually be something you pick up, depending on what the Arythea skills are. But this brings us to tactic selection. And last time my first round was cut short to 5 turns only, because I did not go first, and the dummy played quite fast. I was unlucky with the last coin flip, otherwise I would have 6 turns at least. Which does mean I'm not actually leaning towards a later tactic, because I really do want to have my turns. I don't think Great Start will cut it this time. And as said, I might want to get rid of Expose to draw it later. Stealing a die is only useful if you can use it right away. That might be a play with March. Actually, we do have a gold die to power the Song of Wind at least. And planning is, I don't know, it's just a high tactic number, so I'm most likely losing a turn. But it would give me more options, of course. The problem really is that these war beasts are also hard to bypass, because if I go past them with Song of Wind, which means that all this costs 0 actually, I would provoke them and I would be stuck at that point. So either I'm going via this Glade here, explore there and hope I can continue, or the other path would be here, which would also cost 3 and hope I can continue there, but then again there is at least something to do here. I could even loop around back to the tower. All in all, going to the tower via this route will cost me 6 movement in total, which I do have, because this card, this is something you have to keep in mind, only gives 2 movement, but then again it reduces the movement cost of all these spaces to 0, so it's paying for itself in this way. But we did pay a mana then, and we can't power them unless we are taking mana steal, of course. Rethinking would mean I'm going first, and I would just toss this out to see later and get some other random cards. So it's either replacing 2 having a turn more, having a mana more to power this and maybe explore more, or draw 2 cards to have the firepower to actually take the tower. But this is risky because currently I don't have much firepower at all. So I might be stuck, for example, with even more movement cards. I do think I want to have a shot at a dragon or some advanced enemy later, and this will not, actually it will help with the tower, but it will not kill anything by itself. So I do think I want to shovel this back in. Let's see what happens. So the only question is, will the dummy go before me still? Will I be that unlucky, or will I have one more turn than last time? And the dummy goes for Great Start, okay. So we do want to toss this and this. We could even toss one more card, but I do like having the movement. I could power the March with the Herbalist, but then they would be spent right away. And I do think with that much green mana in the source, the heal 2 might actually come in handy. So I will stick with the movement cards and just draw 2 other cards. which is a swift bolt, okay, and improvisation. So we are shuffling them in. Arythea goes first, and this is the first turn. So I don't want to use the crystal yet, so I'm using the gold die to power this. And the only question is, where do I go? But Arythea will step through a portal and either go here, that's 3 movement, or go here, which is also 3 movement. And I do think having the contingency of taking the tower is actually too tempting, so I will go this route. So that's 0, that's 0. So that's another 2 movement points, that brings it up to 4. But the problem really is that exploring also costs 2 points. I have the option to still power this, but I could pay a crystal to use the improvisation to move. That would give me 5 if I toss the stamina. I'm not tossing this, I think. I'd rather take the crystal. But with this single point left, currently I could not even explore, so I would have to decide now how to get another movement point. So yeah, I'm going to toss this, even though this means I can't take the tower this turn, but I don't think this is wise anyway, even though the movement cost will be back to 5 next turn. But probably I should look forward and not look backward. So I'm playing improvisation with the crystal instead, which brings my movement points up to 7. With 3 I enter the space, so I have 4 left, and I'm exploring this. Or do I visit the village before that to reveal the defenders? I don't think that's worth it actually, because I just spent my improvisation, so going there doesn't make any sense now. So let's just explore. So I have 2 movement points left. I'm swapping these tiles just for superstition, because this is actually the next tile on top of the stack. I'm laying them out just for optical reasons. And this tile, oh my god, this is not good to progress. Die comes up golden, so it won't be rotated. Yeah, so there are 2 mountains, 2 walls, diggers, which I hate for the reason that they just have 2 fame and they are like just an annoyance. A maze, a monastery, which is nice because it would give me access to the Red Cape monks, and a refugee camp that would actually give me access to the swordsmen and the Red Cape monks even without the monastery. But it would cost 8 influence, which I do not have. So this is really bad. This makes it really a dead end in my book. But we do have the Song of Wind active. You have to remember that. So these spaces all cost 0. Even the portal space is a plain space. So we can just go there for free. But if you do not want to provoke, then we have to pay 3 points to go here. But we could get to this place pretty much with the points we have left. Well, there's 1 point missing because we produced 7 so far and we paid 3 here and 2 to reveal. That leaves us with 2 points, but we do have 2 more points here. So we are at 4, 6 if we want to also use the herbalists. And I do think I actually want to turn back at that point. We did get a fame, I must not forget that. And we do have a swift bolt that can just kill the summoners. But I do think I want to look forward, so if we move back like this, all for free, we can't move here unfortunately, otherwise we will provoke the war beasts. Which does mean I have to play this. That will bring up my movement points to 4. So I can enter this and then for free go here or here. And I do think the village is beneficial if my hand that I draw up allows me to hire. And I can actually plunder in between the turns. And the only question is, do I pay a green mana by spending the herbalist to get 2 more movement points to also reveal this? And I do think I want to do this just for the chance that there are some planes where I can continue moving forward. So I'm producing a green token, powering the march, which now means I have 6 when I start here, movement points. So I'm paying 3 here and 2 to reveal this. So I have 1 point left. Let's see what it is. And there are some planes. Let's see what the orientation is. Comes up blue. So it's rotated once. So unfortunately the plane path is broken up. And there is a dungeon for a change. Glades. Ironclads that also give 4 fame but are physical resistant, and another monastery which adds ice shield to the offer. So I can decide where to go. I could go to the monastery for free or even on the dungeon. The monastery would make sense if I would have access to a lot of influence. But seeing that I played the improvisation already, there's already Threaten and Promise left, so even if I draw both, I would have to power the Threaten to actually get to 7. And if I don't draw the cards, I'm pretty much at the edge of the map, and Song of Wind will no longer be active. So I would probably have to burn it down and then move back through swamps to actually continue exploring, because there's also a lake. Currently I could pay blue if I had one to move over that for free, but I don't have any movement to explore. So I'm not sure this is a wise decision without knowing my cards, even though I have this. So I can draw 2 more and I actually get a red token for Threaten. But again, it's putting me at the edge of the map. Seeing the source with green and that concentration might come up, that would give me range attack 6, I'd rather go for the dungeon, I think. And it saves me 2 movement points to just go here. I can't plunder then, but it brings me into the right direction. We should also give me a fame, let's not forget that, which means that another 4 fame will actually level me now. And I think I will hold on to this for the dungeon. and I think I spent enough resources and cards for the first turn, but we already revealed 2 of the 3 countryside tiles, so I'm quite happy with how this went. So let's clean up the token and the crystal. Die rerolls green as well, that's really bad. The cards are discarded, and we do draw 4 cards. So there's a promise, that's unfortunate. There's a mana pull. With the crystal it might be really good. A swiftness, okay, and a determination. So this play allows me to power both of these, which is 7 range attack, which should hopefully be enough for the dungeon. But let's first do the first turn of the dummy, and he plays red, blue, and green, which is 1 more card, which is another red. So overall, not lucky, but also not extremely unlucky. And this is our second turn then. When I do think I want to have the chance for a spell on artifact, so I will just enter. Idea being that I do have 2 good range cards and a mana pool to actually get the mana, since I do have this crystal. But I won't be able to use the source, but at least I will turn a die white then. Actually, I can turn 2 dice, since it's mana pool of Arythea. Yeah, but I do not want to continue. This would be movement 3 to get me to the glade, but to what end? Let's just go into the dungeon. And in the dungeon we encounter a crypt bomb, so the only enemy token that I cannot kill at range. That's so unfortunate. I think I really have a bad streak with these dungeon and match tower units. That I'm always one-off range attack or I encounter fortified enemies, so yeah. There's no use in killing this at range, which pretty much means I'm taking 2 wounds, because the herbalists don't help much. Unfortunately, I've already used them, but at least we are starting at level 3, so it's just 2 wounds. And I do need to come up with 6 attack, and I do think I just want to use the determination for 2 then. I can either use the promise and the swiftness for another 4 or the swift bolt, but I will need white mana. I can of course use this crystal to power this, but it would mean I play all these cards. The mana pool can make me use the black die as any color, but it would waste 1 mana. I can also use the crystal as planned, so I can turn the dice to whatever side I want, but I will only need 1 mana, so essentially I'm just losing the crystal then. So the question is, do I want to keep the crystal or do I want to keep mana pull? Mana pull makes it much more flexible, but unless I can power it, it's only the black die that actually gives me 1 mana of any color that I need. And the question really also is if I want to hold on to the promise or not, because using it for the swiftness to get 1 more attack would probably be a good use of this, and I can hold on to this. There won't be much use of, well actually there is. I have 2 more white cards in the deck, which is another swiftness and an expose, so that I have to keep in mind. So I do think the crystal will be worthwhile, even though I can use the other swiftness, for example, with a concentration. And I haven't played the swift bolt yet, of course. Yeah, I do think I want to just hold on to the crystal, use the mana pull to pull the black die, use this to power the swiftness, and play this sideways, so I have attack 6. I will hold on to this still. Unfortunately, I have still these 2 cards, but Tranquility might come up, but I will draw only 2 cards. But I will level, so I see a skill, get something from there. But I should plan for the level up, because do I actually take Blood Ritual with 2 wounds in hand? The Herbalist spent. Heroic Tail is nice, but where do I actually hire? Because I've spent a lot of movement already, and I should really go on. But there is a glade coming up, so I can heal there. But I could take Training, seeing these dice there, to turn the promise into a Heroic Tail. Would be good to know if I get a spell or an artifact, to be honest. But most likely it's an artifact and we don't know what it is. Actually, I do think we need to take the Blood Ritual to solve our mana issues. There's a glade and we are Arythea, so let's see what the skill choice is. Which does mean I'm not holding on to promise to upgrade it. Let's just lock that in. So we did take 2 wounds with 3 armor for the 6 attack. We played 2 attack, 3 attack, 6 attack using the black die. So this will be rerolled. These are all used. Comes up black again. That's really unfortunate. This gives 5 fame. So we had 16 plus 1 for the scenario rules. So we had 17. We are leveling. But we do get the combat rewards first, so let's roll for that. And it's golden, so it's actually a spell. Let's also mark that with our shield. And what spell do we take? Mistform would be a good movement skill, but it's quite defensive. Burning Shield, as said, would help against 2 of the more problematic dragons, and it will give us attack as well. And Charm probably doesn't do us any good currently. So seeing that we have a red mana source, I think I will just take the Burning Shield. And it will just kill the Prowlers as well. Because it's just Fire Block 4 and Fire Attack 4, which will just kill this. So that pretty much settles that. So let's take the Burning Shield. But I do have to keep in mind that I'm only drawing the cards I'm getting now. So the spell and the advanced action. So I won't see any movement. But I do have this. And I don't have blue mana access anyway. So taking the movement spell probably doesn't do me any good either. Yeah, let's see what the skills are. The spell offer refreshes with Mana Bolt. That's insanely good, because it does give you options to change the elements of the spell and gives a lot of firepower, so that would probably make a Dragon at Night quite manageable. But let's see the skill now. And it's either Hot Swordsmanship, that's solid of course, it's also elemental damage, Or polarization, which is insanely good, I think, at that point in time, because I can use green as white then and black as gold. So it also solves part of the mana problem. I don't think Feral Allies will cut it in comparison to these two. Yeah, I do think I take polarization just for solving the mana issues and leave that for the offer then. Dummy adds one of his good mana skills, so either Thunder or Lightning Storm, I think. And from the offer I will take Blood Ritual, even though it's giving me another wound, but it's something that I can use with red to produce a crystal. Let's see. And Frostpunch is replacement, which is another movement skill, a really good one. But that's that, so I'm drawing up to 5 with just a Blood Ritual and a Burning Shield. Again, no movement as we anticipated. And the dummy will play a second turn. So that's green and blue, and then white, which is not a color he has. So that's good. On to our third turn. The problem really is that hitting a movement card would mean hitting March or Stamina, or the remaining Swiftness, so 3 cards. If I hit Tranquility, that's probably also good if I pop Motivation now, because I can then heal this. But both Rages nor the Threaten would be any good. Crystallize might be good if I then play the Blood Ritual as well. And I can actually do a resting turn and play these special effects. So I could actually produce another wound and toss them all and even get this crystal if I like to. And if I pop this and do not hit, especially if it's 2 Rages, for example, I can still discard 3 cards to walk to the Glade. I just do think I have to risk it. It's a big gamble, but if nothing else, I can do a resting turn. Let's see what happens. I'm popping Motivation, getting a red crystal. No, I'm getting a red token and drawing 2 cards. Let's see. Crystallize, okay, that's not a worst pull. And a March, that's insane. That's insanely good. That is lucky, I have to confess, but nevertheless, sometimes it has to pay off. I was really unlucky with the Crypt one to begin with. So we can use a green mana after all for full movement and move to the Glade. So 1 wound will be healed at the end of turn. But I will use this, which gives me another wound. And together with the Crystallize, I can now choose 2 crystals and another mana. So I will choose a red one to cast this to kill this, and I get 2 more crystals. So I do think I want the green to power concentration later, even though there's so much green in the source. Actually, that's an argument against, because I do have polarization. I should definitely take a blue or red, and I think I take a blue then, which is, unless I need this twice in a turn, as good. And do I take a white, a red? Seeing that I just picked this up and this, I should probably take a red. I should not plan to use them right away, and so I should take something that also gives me something later. Let's pick a blue and a red. Okay, so I'm moving to the Glade, healing this at the end of turn, using the Motivation token to cast this, get another wound, get this token to crystals because of Crystallize. So let's maybe clean that up already. I'm throwing this away as well. And Fireblock 4 blocks this because it's brutal, which only has an effect if I'm not blocking it. And the 3 physical resistant armor is then killed by Fire Attack 4. So this kills the rampaging enemy, which is 4 fame and a reputation. And I do have a movement point left, so I could use this to explore, but I think I want to hold on at that point. I think we do have some time left, so let's see. Die comes up white, so it's in the same color range of green and white with polarization. This is discarded, and we are just drawing 2 cards, unfortunately. So there's the Expose now, that's bad. But a Stamina, that's nice. And we did take 2 crystals of the blue-red variation with polarization. Let's see what the dummy does in his third turn. So it's blue and green as well as white again. Okay, that's nice. So we do have time. We do start the turn with a gold token, and this is our turn 4 now. It's tempting to stay here for a turn just to get rid of a wound, but exploring with stamina, even if we power it, would mean that we are losing 2 movement points unless we are moving on, which would mean that we do not heal. And staying here loses us a card as well. And I do have the 2 cards that I probably want for a dragon if I can attempt one, but I'm really all out of movement already. This is a good place, or this, to place the first core tile. This does not need to be placed here, of course. Let's maybe remove that, put it on the pile, and instead mark the space that I can explore on. It's a 3-row map, an open map, but 4 movement doesn't get me here and explore, so I would have to play one of these. But I have to play a card anyway, otherwise I have to toss one. So I do think I'm using this on stamina to explore, and then see if I want to stay or not. But not powering it doesn't do me any good anyway. But actually I do think I want to use polarization with the black die just to reroll this and see what the options are. So I'm producing 4 movement and I'm revealing this. Rose comes up blue, so it's rotated once. So another village, the other maze, a keep with unknown defenders, and a deep mine with red and white in a desert, which pretty much only leaves this as an option here. But I don't see me moving away, since I'm not resting, so I should really heal another wound and start the next turn with another gold token, and 2 more cards from the deck. Although I have only the swiftness left to move, I think. So I have to play another card sideways even to get here, and I can't really explore this. Which makes me think I should have gone for Mist Form after all, but I did not know I get polarization, and I would still not have access to blue mana. Well, I didn't know I get the Blood Sacrifice, so maybe that was a mistake. But that's the problem with playing fast. You can't really complain for not seeing certain options if you do not get through all of them up front, which takes a lot of time, of course, but it's part of the fun for me. So do we waste another 2 movement points, seeing that we do not have that much movement? The problem is if I want to move to the forest, I have to play another card, unless I'm moving here, which doesn't do much. And if I'm getting rid of this, the expose with the concentrated swiftness might kill a dragon, because it's 7 range attack. And I do think like the Ice and Fire Dragon, which this is perfect for, would have 7. But then I do not have any movement. Unless I'm playing cards sideways, and 2 might be enough. But probably they aren't, and it might not even be a dragon. And do I really toss this just for 1 point, or do I toss the spell? Well, there's nothing to do with this, that's the problem. I'm drawing 2 cards, but it's just 2, and time is running. So if I'm not getting anywhere, what do I even do with these cards? And there are not that many targets around. I would have to pay 6 movement to get to the monastery. 3 for the monster then, that's true, but I usually don't like them too much. It's just crystals and fame. The maze is the last place I want to go, because it costs movement, and the keep is 6 plus the wall, so 7 movement away. So I think the only way forward is here, and if 1 card brings me 1 step further, I think I have to do that. But then I will not heal a wound, but I will draw 2 cards and are closer to the core tile. I'll probably have to rest then, unless I'm drawing the Tranquility. Yeah, I think I just have to do it. So with the extra movement point, I can use the other 2 movement points from the powered stamina to move into this forest. But I will not use this. This is played. Die comes up gold for a change. So I do draw 2 cards, which is a rage, and a battle versatility, which is the 2 rages. Dummy has 6 cards left. Let's see. Red, red, and blue, which is 2 more, which is white and white. But the important part is there's still a card left in the stack. So this brings us to our 5th turn, and we have this and 2 more turns left. So at this point, seeing that I did not draw Tranquility, I think I will just rest, toss the rage and 2 wounds, 3 more cards, and see that I can make the most of the remaining 2 turns. I have 4 cards left only, so there will only be 1 left in the deck anyway. So there's a Tranquility, that's sad, a Swiftness, and a Concentration. The dummy exhausts his deck, so this brings us to my 6th turn. There's only Threaten left, and I can't hold on to this combination here. This is what would kill some of the dragons, I think. That's 7, and I do have green and white. But this I would need to explore, and 1 card doesn't move me anywhere. So I do think I have to explore with the Swiftness. Maybe use this combination instead. And I can still get rid of resistances, for example, and it's still 2 damage. I can even maybe heal, but then again, these 2 could move me into position, but it's highly unlikely that 2 movement points actually get me anywhere. But I do have to continue exploring. Did I miss to give me a fame? Let's place these tokens like this, because I have explored 3 times. I did not get a fame on leveling, and this is 9, which in total is 12 fame. Starting with 9 is 21, and 1 from the level up is 22. So it did not give me this, which does mean if this is a city, the exploration alone would let me level. Which doesn't do anything for me this day, but at least it's nice. Alright, if I would have been Wolfhawk, having a Swiftness that can actually move you with the powered version with Concentration would have been awesome. But I'm not, and I squandered my movement, so I will use the Swiftness to explore this tile. And it's not a city, unfortunately, but maybe we can still fight something. Rose comes up blue, so I'm facing enemies, another War Beast, which is nice because I do have 5 damage, I guess. Yeah, the better versatility doubles as a ranged attack 3, so this is actually 5, that's nice. But I would even have this, of course. There are hags, another keep of unknown defenders, a deep mine, and the first labyrinth. I do get a fame. I do not level because it's not a city. So I can kill the War Beasts now with just the green token with concentrated battle versatility. But the question is what to do with the next turn. And I can't actually visit this because it's at night, it's 5 movement. I will have another card, so it's 3 movement, so I can actually go there at least. But it would be swamp and forest at night here. And I think at night it's better to actually go into this direction here and explore from there. There would be then the option of a keep to higher, but I will have to kill 2 dragons in the same night. That's not something I'm looking forward to. It's unfortunate the Threaten and the Tranquility are quite useless and I came quite out of order. But I do think if I'm here and I'm getting Song of Wind again, I can at least go through the desert as well for one movement at night. But there's really no way to go on from there, so maybe I should go towards the village, which allows me to hire. And if there's a nice level 2 unit, I could actually use the Herbalist to use that twice. Maybe Crossbowman, for example. So I can't move on to provoke them, so I have to kill them from here, unless I'm not killing it at all. I think it's quite clear that I didn't play that optimally, not using the Exposer after all, not getting the crystal from the Swift Bolt, for example, not using Tranquility to heal the wounds, but I'm unlucky with the order. But again, if you think more about these kind of decisions, I think you can make it much more efficient. So let's just kill this. It's never fortified, has 5 armor, no physical resistance, it's 5 damage ranged, so it's 3 fame, +1 for the scenario rules, and a reputation which brings me to +1. Die comes up white, I draw the Threaten, I do level up, so I will have a hand limit of 6 with the starting knight, that's nice. Dummy now is end of round. And I do think I use these cards for movement 2 and at least bring me into position to be closer to the keep or the village. But it concludes the first day. Dummy picks up a blue crystal, that's of course bad, but a white card, which might actually be a good combination unless I'm hitting blue. We get rid of the tactics, we flip motivation and ready the herbalists. I do want to get rid of training and charm, I think. Advanced action offer refreshes with mountain law and refreshing walk, so 2 more movement skills. And as spells we have chill and velvet now, tornado. The silver units are thugs and guardian golems. And this time I will pick gold units, which are fire golems, ranged fire, that's interesting, and heroes, which are actually hireable in a village. That's nice. They have a cold fire attack. The source comes up white and red, which is nice because it's both colors with polarization, so I have pretty much access to everything, except black, of course. Our starting hand is Expose right away, Battle Versatility, Tranquility, Crystallize, Song of Wind right away, and a Determination. I'm not sure I like that hand, which does mean it's time for tactic selection. Let's mark where we can actually explore the cities, since we know the next 2 tiles will be the cities. So I made a bit of space and moved the map. So these are the 3 columns. I've moved the rows here. I do think exploring here is probably the... Well, actually we can do it here and then there, or vice versa, or we can explore here and then this would also be a legal placement. We did also not reveal the 2 actions for the monastery, which are Chivalry and Blood of the Ancients. There's a lot of stuff going through my mind currently, so the one question is, what do I hire? And I do think I should hire. And where do I do this? If I move here now, that's costing me 3 movement, and I can hire the heroes or the thugs. But I do like the fire golems. They're actually cheaper than the heroes, and they give me range fire attack 4, which is really nice with the expose. Even though the heroes with the 1 reputation bonus only cost 7, I have to keep that in mind. But I can hire them both at the keep. That's the key point here. And what do I do with my opening hand? I do have the Song of Wind, but no other movement cards. So moving here to explore, which would cost me 1 movement only if I power it, it doesn't even give me a movement cost to explore. So I would have to use Meta Meditation to swap out cards and chance it, and most likely go after the dummy. So I'm tempted to use Song of Wind to just take the keep now, because I do have Expose, even though I want it for the dragon, I have it now, and would give me the keep, which further improves my hand limit, and I can hire both of these units. And I will then in a perfect position to explore these 2 city tiles and go on from there. As usual with Mage Knight, it's preferable if you can do anything with your starting hand, and I can't do anything with Tranquility unless I'm using a white mana of Polarization to draw. And if I take Long Night, this might not be the worst thing in the world. I can also do a first turn with Crystallizing. That gets rid of this card. But what do I do with the battle cards? So I do think just going for the keep brings me in position. I might even be able to kill the enemy with range attack 5 here, or do some other combination where I can even hold on to this card. I will use Song of Wind, but I do think I don't have to cross the map or something like this, because this is where it really shines, with all these plane spaces to cross the whole map. With space bending, that's really insane, because you can hop over 1 space, and as long as there's a plane space in range of 2, you can pretty much go wherever you like. You can hop here, 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 and here, so space bending on Song of Wind is insane. So I don't think I need this to reach the cities, and it gives me a first turn. Which doesn't mean I probably don't need this, or this, and I want to go fast, and I don't need Mana Search because I have Paralyzation, so I'm taking Long Night. Let's see if the dummy takes a turn from me. It's a 1 in 5 chance. I need to place Mana Search. So the order stays, Arythea goes first, and I do want to play the Song of Wind with a white source die to have movement 2, and the cost of plains, deserts, and wastelands are reduced by 2 to a minimum of 0. So that's 0. I can't see the defenders, and I still have to pay for the wall. That's 1 movement point. I could also go here for the movement point. Does that matter? Probably not. Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. I will end up with 1 movement point left, but, well, actually it would matter if I can come up with another movement point, because this costs 0 to assault now. So I can actually toss a card to explore. That's an interesting idea. I won't be able to crystallize. I don't think I need this, because I have many crystals already. I do like the idea that I can actually explore. It might be that I'm provoking an enemy then. That's the only risk I'm taking here. But the idea is that by moving here, it costs me a point, so I am at 1, and I don't need 1 here. Yes, so 1 movement point will allow me to explore this. Tranquility might be good to heal a wound. I do have wounds in the deck, so this is why I'm hesitant to drop the Tranquility. I can use the Herbalists, of course, but I do need mana. If I'm ending up using a blue, red, or white crystal, or let's say 2, because I've already used the source, then having a turn that I can actually use for crystallizing might be good. I'm not readying any other units, because I probably won't hire level 1 or 2, so that's not doing anything. It's just mana or healing, basically. I think I dropped the healing, yeah, so let's play this for this and explore this tile, which has to be a city, of course. Comes up green, so it's rotated twice. So there's an unknown altar, a Draconum, of course, guarding the city, a red mine, and the Draconum's actually replaced by green enemies. So there's a catapult and some orc skirmishes. So now I'm at 0 movement points, but the keep is in plains. Do I want to take this? But I don't have any other movement, and I still have the Song of Wind, so I think it's worth it to go there. Yeah, we are assaulting the keep as planned. This costs us a reputation, I forgot about that, so the heroes are again more expensive than the fire golems. And the defenders are swordsmen. So I can kill them with this combination by making them lose the fortification and having range attack 3. But it costs me 2 crystals as said. I could block them with the crystallize as the 6th block point, but it would also cost me a crystal, and I can't produce 5 attack just like this. Seeing that I can actually attack both dragons with an handlement of 7 if I take the keep, I'm tempted to just play the motivation now to get a red token at least for this and see what other cards I get. Let's just do that. So we do get the red token and draw 2 cards. There's a promise and a march. These are cards I actually want to hold on to, unfortunately, to hire and to explore and move. But I do have my token now to power this, which does mean I have to use expose, unfortunately. I think that's just far too efficient. I could, of course, take 2 wounds and use the herbalists, so to hold on to this. I think it would be stupid to toss this without knowing both the dragons. And this is also more than enough attack. This would even be enough. Let's just attack 5, 4, and 1 sideways. And use the crystal with polarization to heal, to not have them clog up my hand. But I did toss the Tranquility, and if I'm using this, the wounds here, I can't heal. But it would leave me with these 2 cards that might come in handy. So again, let's not think about it too much. That's 4 attack, that's 5, which kills it. Let's also get rid of this already. We get 2 wounds, which we then with a white crystal and polarization, making it green, use to heal. Which does mean I'm holding on to these 4 cards, but I'm killing them. That's another 4 fame, a shield on the keep, and I do draw up to 7, which is 3 cards. Yeah, and I should not put the discarded cards on my deck. The dice stays white, and I do draw the concentration, a stamina, and a swift bolt. Alright, we are loaded up to kill the first dragon, it seems. 2 movement cards, concentrated swift bolt, but unfortunately we can't really hire unless I'm using this somehow. But we are still lacking 2 influence. But it was our first turn. Let's see what the dummy does. White, red, and blue. Unfortunate. That's 3 more. That's blue, white, and green. That's not a good sign for a long night. So I'm tempted to just explore with the stamina, power it with a red die with polarization, but it would take us away from the keep most likely. So are we not hiring? But paying 8 influence for the fire golems would mean concentrated promise, tossing determination, and another card. And we are so stacked with good cards that I'd rather kill a dragon now. We can take a movement skill that brings us back. I think we need to know what the dragons are. So let's move on. Let's movement 4. We explore the other city. It's the green one. Unfortunately, at night it's really bad terrain. Rose comes up green. There are some trackers, another skirmisher, the Draconum, of course, in the city, a glade in the village. Unfortunately, I have no idea how the ravaging enemies work. If you want, for example, to move into the space to fight a Draconum, if you can't do that and battle the orcs at the same time, or if this is actually not allowed. For clearing this kind of trash, the Horde Swordsmanship would have been insanely good, because I'm now facing the problem that I do not even have like these small attack values like 3. If I block them, for example, they fall down to 3, but how do I even get 3 damage? I've already played a Rage, or the Battle Versatility of Arythea, so unless I draw the other Rage, where does my damage come from, if I use this for blocking at least? I could move through the desert, the hills, and take this Draconum without provoking anything, but I would have to move all this way back and then kill this. So I do think killing the trackers now is probably good, just to make room, because I can then take the city and then go this way. But it would, again, squander movement points, because going here and then moving in would provoke those. Let's assume this is allowed. And again, I forgot to give me fame, I think. I think I already leveled, right? I definitely did not get a 2 fame here, but I don't remember getting a bonus fame for revealing the city as well. So I'm probably missing 4 fame, which will exactly level me, but only after this turn, I think. But that's good information, because I do have a Frost Bridge, for example, then that can help me with this assault. And I will get another skill. So this is 16. The 5 tiles, actually 6 tiles, that's 22. The 2 bonus fame are 24, which already gets me here, which with the 9 starting fame brings me to 33. It's already here. And I'm missing the 2 fame then from the bonus of leveling up, which brings me here, and another fame. So I will level now after the turn. And killing the orc will actually give me a reputation, which will make it possible to hire the fire golems. And I haven't seen a swiftness yet, so I can probably use the swift bolt to come up with the damage. But I can't even power it, because I do lack the mana. But I will have a mana pull coming up and a blood ritual, so later mana will not be a problem. I feel like I do have to block them to get them down to 3. Unless I'm using, well, I don't have a green mana as well. I've used the polarization already, so I only have blue and red, which means that I do have to use this as a mana source. I can't use it to create range attack 6, for example, which would kill them. Yeah, so I do think I have to block them with determination. Brings it down to 3, and then play the concentration with the swift bolt for 4 attack, but it would mean that I can't actually get 6 influence from the promise. But if I draw the threaten, it's irrelevant anyway. And I do have to progress, so let's produce a white, that's 4 attack. I'm only using 1 crystal. I will draw a lot of cards. These are taken care of. It's another 3 fame. Yeah, Pretation, which brings me to +1. Die stays red as well. And I do level up and draw 4 cards then. So let's see what the skill choice is. It's either the Power of Pain, which could be interesting for the wounds I still have in the deck and I might get with dragons, or the Ritual of Pain. Both can deal with wounds. Here I can throw away 2 wounds and in the next turn play a card for 3, so a wound, I mean. This allows me to every turn play a wound for 2. Even influence, so if I draw a wound, this might actually help me with hiring. I can also take this mana skill that's not worthless. It's also green, blue and white mana. And I feel like I have a lack of mana, but again I will get the blood ritual and this is also a really good reason to take this. So I think this is just far too good. Let's take this, which means we can freely choose our skill. It's all movement. Mountain Law can increase the hand size, but Frost Bridge helps with lakes and swamps. And swamps we do have. Mountain Law has more movement, but it doesn't reduce the cost. I do think I have to take the Frost Bridge. A Decompose replaces the offer. And the next dummy skill is the Elemental Resistance. So we draw up to 7 cards due to the keep. There's the Frost Bridge, a March, a Swiftness, and a Stamina. So no wound and no threaten. That's the problem here. Let's see what the dummy does in his second turn. White, green, and red. That's good. I feel like we should burn through our deck to make the most of Long Night and maybe get such cards twice. But the dummy will not give us that many more turns. And I haven't drawn any mana skills, no wounds, no influence skills, so that's really bad. And I do think we just need to know what the dragons are now. It would cost me moving here, back, moving here and back to feed them both and still be at the keep. If I want to attack one, it would be through the forest without provoking anything. So not going here or making this detour here, which is probably not worth it. But do I attack something with this kind of hand? Probably not. So we do need the firepower. And this is just 5 range attack. That's not going to cut it. So we do need another swiftness and we really need to hire this. But this is only 4. We have 1, that's 5. But 3 more would mean 3 more cards and we can't do that either. So I do think we have to play this now to get 4 movement and have the movement cost of swamps reduced to 1. Then go here for 1 and see what happens. Probably is that I have all the movement I have in my deck in my hand currently. Or it's already the discard pile, Song of Wind and the Stamina, so that's the card I just got. So I have all the movement I have in in my deck in my hand. That's really bad. And this is the range attack I have, so I can't toss that either. So this is really not going well. So do we do this? Do we lock that in? I think we have to, so let's see what a dragon is. It's actually a swamp dragon again, which is not good because it has 9 armor this time. And we don't have a unit that can actually easily block it because it's swift. We could run it through the herbalist that we don't care about, which means that we get 1 wound and 1 in discard pile, but the wound would actually give us the option to get 2 of anything. That would then be 2, 5, 7, so 2 more cards would actually kill it. We will not be able to block this with Determination already played and it being swift. So we really have to hope that the Fire Shield can block this, maybe even kill it. If I go back now, I will have a hard time coming up with the movement to attack this again. And again, as said, I can't swap out these cards anyway. But if I go here now, I will actually provoke them, which would give me 2 more wounds. Or I lose cards to block this. So I have 3 movement points left. I need 2 for the attack. That's 1. So it would cost me 2 movement cards to actually get there. So I think I'd rather take the wounds and use them for movement or something else. So this might be actually the MVP here. I think I can't be slow, so I have to do this. I have to move in, which does provoke these 2. But I don't actually have the mana, I'm just realizing. Oh, this is also bad. I can't pound neither of those because I've used polarization already and just have 1 crystal left. So I really need my mana cards. So I'm stuck with the cards I need for battle and for movement and for hiring, but I can't do any of those. And I do have the long night. That's so sad. I have a severe mana problem. I might have to kill the skirmishes just to get me a wound so I can move into the dragon next turn. Because I still have to burn through my deck, that's the problem. But these are dead cards without mana. So that's really desperate, but I don't know what else to do. So I'm provoking them and getting 2 wounds, playing 1 with these 2 cards sideways and the Power of Pain to kill them, which means I'm holding on to a movement card, so to speak. And this is 2 fame and a reputation. And I'm drawing 2 cards, which is the mana pull. That's awesome. And another wound. That's a bit sad. Okay, we do reroll this. Comes up red, so still the same. Discard this and see what the dummy does. He really has to play slow. Red, red, and green, which is 1 more, which is blue. That's awesome. And he has 4 cards left, so with any luck, we'll have a few turns left. So on our 4th turn, we definitely now have to get going and play everything we have, basically. So mana pull, power 1, power the other. Probably using polarization to turn it green, so we have a bit more options. Use a regular movement card to move in. So we can actually use this for 2, but it's not enough, actually. It's just 7, 8, and the dragon has 9. It just doesn't work out. You can get another point here, but you will need another mana and a black one. This game really went so much worse than I expected. So this is not happening, which does mean I have to come up with another plan, unfortunately. I think I just have to get into position for the other dragon and see if I can kill it at range. And then see if the dummy gives me enough turns to actually also kill the swamp dragon. But that would be 4 movement. I do need 5 to get here to the altar. I would probably have to redraw stuff then anyway at that point. I should probably get on the mine to actually have another crystal. So this movement 8, which is exactly this. And I do have to play a wound, and I have to play through my deck anyway. So we are moving 2, 5, 8, picking up a crystal, rerolling this. Comes up gold, which is black with polarization. It might be good. These are all discarded. We do see the dragon, and it's a fire dragon. That's something we did prepare for finally. Let's see if it works out. So we are not in the vicinity of the keep. That's the only downside of this mine. So we do only draw 2 cards, which is the burning shield. So this is the wrong way around, I fear. And an improvisation. Dummy plays white, green, and blue, so he exhausts the stack. That's again really bad. So we did have a 50-50, which we missed, which brings us to our 5th turn. And we cannot come up with 7 ranged attack because we did not draw the 2nd swiftness. So we can't actually kill it at range. Blocking would mean we need ice block, and it has an attack of 9 at 18 blocks, so we can't block it. This game is so broken. If I would have gotten to the cards in a different order, I might have used the exploding shield on the swamp dragon, because it's 10 block. This is already 4. This could be 5. So 1 more point, and we don't need to worry about attack. But there's no way we can block this. So this is, again, a little bit out of order here. But at that point, taking the snowstorm would probably have been the better choice. It would actually kill almost both dragons. So expose, even though it's nice, it doesn't help that much here. So I think I'm drowning in wounds, but I do have to kill this dragon now. So we are moving there, even though we can actually play the swiftness for movement probably, because we don't want to power it. So that would be 2 attack already. We are taking 3 wounds probably, because bringing it down to 7 doesn't do anything for us. And with 1 turn left, with so many wounds that won't do it anyway. And getting back to the Swamp Dragon's 12 movement now, so it's also not good. Yeah, we are screwed anyway. So we do need to expose it to get rid of the physical resistance. Don't see a way around the wounds. That's then 4 damage already, so this will just kill it. Which does mean we get 8 fame, 1 bonus fame. We mark this with our shield. Die comes up black, this is all played. We do level up and do draw 2 cards, so we don't even get through the deck. So there's a Rage and a Threaten. And we haven't seen the Blood Ritual and another Swiftness, unfortunately. Dummy calls the end of round. So I think we just block the 2 attacks of the skirmishes and kill them with a red die, so we get 2 more fame and a reputation. At least we are popular. And that's pretty much it, so we lose the scenario. We do get 5 fame for the shard, no points for the dummy. So 2 spells counteract 2 wounds. 4 action cards counteract 2 wounds. 2 crystals give me 1 fame. The keep counteracts a wound. And the dungeon counteracts a wound. Which means after going 1 fame forward, we gain 2 back for the remaining wound. And our final score is 56. So, well, what can we expect from a lost game? So that was really a downer. And I do think I have to make this a post-mortem, obviously, because I did not achieve much in this game. I killed a dragon at some cost, but I do think I had a fair amount of bad luck with the exploration, with the Song of Wind and where I could actually go, and with the card order and so on. But I do think there's a lot of stuff I could have done differently, so I will review this game and give you a post-mortem where I give you my thoughts on what went badly. And I think even the leveling was already quite bad. This unit didn't cut it actually. I misused it probably as well, but even the foresters would have been so much better because I could wound them, heal them, they have movement. So I do think paying the 2 more influence to get them would be better than maybe, well, either not get a spell or at least go for the Snowstorm, which is a ranged attack 5 with an element that helps you so much even for the regular stuff. That's not comparable because you only get ranged attack 2, which does not have an element. The element doesn't matter, of course, because you remove the resistances anyway. But I think my bad luck already started with the Crypt Worm, so, and it continued to streak. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's not much else to say. You will have seen all my comments already then in the post-mortem. But this does mean for me, if you will really play it casual and relax and just go for it, just wing it, it's really not a trivial scenario. Because the dragons, if you don't know them, I'm always coming back to this point, knowledge is key in Mage Knight. And with these dragons, they are wildly different, and what the challenging part about them is, these have just high armor value, where this is actually 2 armor less, and if you're prepared, that can make the difference. Then both of them can be hard to block, but not if you have swiftness or if you have cold block. So the Summoning Dragon is arcane immune, so a completely different thing already and don't know the attacks. The Storm Dragon is elusive, so if you're not blocking it, do you really want to pay like 16 attack or whatever it takes? So knowledge is key, and you don't know that up till the end, so you really have to be prepared. I think you really need to brute force it. That's probably the best idea. You will not get knocked out of them, so you can always attack the last dragon, just take the wounds, but you do have to come up with a lot of attack. But if you have enough attack and are not being knocked out, you can actually kill them. And maybe that's the better plan. This was probably a huge mistake to take this. And this then ended up to come up at the wrong time. Otherwise it would be nice, actually. So I won't think any of these things I took was particularly bad, but it didn't work out. And combined with being inefficient and making bad decisions and having bad luck, you can get screwed quite quickly. But I hope this was an instructive game for you, and I will definitely play this again right away, because it's really a shorter experience, although I'm already playing for over 2 hours, even 2.5, I think. So it's not that short, but in Mage Knight terms, it's quite short. All right, but I think that's it. So see you in the next game.